This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
Welcome to it. It is another Tuesday night, and it's time to ramble. We are the Ramblers Unleashed, and boy, we have a lot to dive into. Of course, we have TNA Genesis that we're going to get into. We have some WWE news, AEW news, and of course, lots of stuff going on over at TNA. But before we get into that, Max, I see a familiar face that I thought I could have swore he was a traitor. Max?
My shirt is ruined. There is a knife mark in the back where he helped J-Bone stab me in the back. I'm surprised you're even wearing your shirt still.
Baron, you have some explaining to do, man. You knew that you were going to go to the park and have Culver's with J-Bone. You knew that. There's just no other way that you didn't know that.
When it comes to the cheese curds, fellas, I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to stab it back into the back multiple times because that's what you do with cheese curds.
I can't believe. Can you believe that, Max?
I can't believe it.
You know what, guys? You missed out on a really good time with me and J-Bone. You know what happens over at J-Bone's happens at J-Bone's.
We
were here for our viewers.
I quit calling him Jay after the first 30 minutes and just called him Bone.
If we knew about it, but hold on, if we knew that you and J-Bone were going to go off and have Culver's together, we would have come, right, Max?
I would have been there. Yeah,
I'd have totally been there.
I mean,
fellas, it was great. It was good food. You know what? I didn't have to pay any money for it because, of
course,
J-Bone. Well, you know, J-Bone gets the hookup over there, so it was a good time. We had a great day in the park, and we really missed you guys, and we're glad you held it down for us that day.
I'm sure you missed us. Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I don't play around when it comes to food.
When you
as you all know,
and feeding cheese curds to one another, I'm sure you said, "Boy, we miss Dizzy and Max." Man.
I threw it up in the air, and he caught it with his mouth. I didn't just feed it to him like a bird.
I mean, sure.
So
J-Bone lives up there in enemy territory where those Packers are from.
No,
I'd have been there.
Fuck the Packers.
I'd have been
Fuck
there.
the Packers. Just throwing that out there.
So hey, and that's okay. You know, I'm okay with that. I get it. But Baron, let me ask you a question. Did you like the marinara sauce with the curds better or honey mustard?
The honey mustard, of course.
Honey mustard.
And I really wish you would have brought the ranch dressing because I think that really, really goes well with the cheese curds. But it's okay. Next time that we do it, if we do it next Saturday, just remember to bring the bottle of ranch. Big bottle of ranch.
I'm also the Bone Man. The Bone Man is also going to bring the boom boom sauce.
Whoa!
What?
I can't work in such an unprofessional environment.
You and me both, man. You and me both.
We miss you guys, though. I want you guys to know we really, truly did miss you.
I would say this is almost as bad as the time Styles was on the show drooling over Tyson's ass. But dude, that was just disgusting.
That was really bad. That was just really bad. But this is worse. This is so worse. Right? And you know what, Baron? In solidarity with you, I even grabbed a Busch Light to drink with you. But I don't even know if I want to anymore, honestly.
Can we be friends again?
I don't know.
Cheers, buddy.
Just stay strong, Dizzy. You stay strong.
All right.
There might be cheese curds involved, Dizzy. Give me a cheers.
You know what? No.
Come to the dark side.
Can't turn my back.
Come to the dark side. We have onion rings.
Yeah. What's this about coupons too, Bone?
Just ignore that. Let's continue. Let's get to the show.
Oh, can't believe it, Max. I am just furious. Still,
Sorry,
I propose.
Go ahead, Max.
A 7 layers of hell tag team match. And I would have Styles referee it, but you can't trust that guy. He
No.
ogles
How about
over
we just do a
guys'
smoke off? Well, what do we do? We're too old to be wrestling in the ring. Who's got time for the wrestling in the ring, fellas?
we
Let's
all
just have a
know
smoke off.
We all know who's going to win that one.
Damn right. Right
We
here.
all know who's going to win that
Hey,
one.
and I've got the ultimate prep for it too, right here.
Yeah. Oh, the hemp bot. Boy, you're going to get
Watch out!
you're going to get like lathered up, and you're going to go. You're going to go on a slip and slide with all that hemp oil. My gosh.
Is that the hemp oil? Is it good for you, J-Bone? Are you enjoying it?
It's lovely. It's very nice. It's great on the hands. You know, the hands get a rough workout at work. There's nothing better than just, chilling at home with some leftovers from work and then applying the lotion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You put the lotion on. How's that go?
I'm sure your hands were rough when you were hand feeding cheese curds to the Baron. And look at this. Styles, he found photos of you two at Culver's. We sent a photographer, didn't we, Max? We didn't want to say anything.
Oh, yeah.
Because we needed some solid evidence. But Styles has pictures. We're going to get those pictures soon.
It's just going to be a fucking picture of Tyson's ass. Let's go. Come on now.
Styles, if you fuck us over, man, if you mess us up.
I mean, I always said that my head was one half of a great looking ass, but whatever.
Wait,
I digress.
Styles, which one's more lubed than Diddy at a party, J-Bone or Baron?
Oh no!
Wow!
What now? Hold on. What?
Wow! And Max, I guess Styles has sent those pics, so be on the lookout for it.
Yes, I need to log back into my Steam real quick. It logged out for some reason.
And hello, Barry. How you doing, buddy? Glad you could be here tonight. Glad everybody could be here tonight. And we have a lot to talk about. First, let's go over some introductions. Let me get this open because I didn't have it open. I know. I'm not prepared. First and foremost, let's introduce my buddy, the neighborhood heel, a man with more wrestling knowledge in his pinky finger than Tony Khan could ever muster with his toy figures, and the only guy that I know that pops bigger for Joel Gertner than any of us. You can address him as Mr. Magus, but we call him the mighty Maximus Magus. Max, my best friend, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I was great until I saw 2 traitors pop up on my video screen.
I know.
Oh boy, the tides have turned. Best friend. The tides.
You guys just assume that there's no coupons in the mail for you guys. Did you know how bad the mail has been? Do you know how many post offices are on strike post holiday season?
I hope Newman fucking delivered those coupons soon. I hope they got lost.
Oh, wow. It just depends on when you sent those, man, because I've been monitoring my mail. And
if they get lost, I'll resend them. Just
got you.
Listen, I want to warn everybody, the picture's kind of graphic. It had to be censored to be shown here for you tonight.
But we're going to show this. We're going to show it. We have to show it because we need solid evidence.
Oh, that's solid.
Oh, that's real good evidence, fellas. Let me tell you.
I see grease.
You guys are going to win that in the court case.
And I see some, back of some old guy's head. That's not me.
But that burger looks really good.
Is Styles, is what we got for Tony? $20?
Yeah, you guys got fucked on that picture. I don't think you can make a case out of that.
We got fucked with you two going to the park too.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm not happy.
Yeah, that's not. No, because I don't even eat those. No, that's no. Nice try.
I'm not happy.
Good try.
I'm happy, Styles.
Good try, Styles. Next time, send a picture of Tyson.
My gosh.
Styles, what the hell, dude?
You know, hang on, because I want to say something real quick.
Okay.
You mentioned Tony Khan and his figures. I think the comparison has to be made. If you look at that background right there, he's got almost as many figures as Tony Khan.
I mean, yes, that's true. That's so true.
It's getting redone. I started it today. It's far from done, but as you see, there has been some changes. The
it kind of has been. Yeah, I see that.
The skeleton, Mr.
What is that? Is that a tombstone? Like, what is that one you were just pointing at?
Oh, this up here? Oh, that is the New York Comic-Con Vampiro figure that just came out.
Oh shit, nice.
It's
Vampiro? Holy fuck, I haven't heard that name in forever.
A big bad toy store. Yeah, so I got a couple my figures are all over the place now. I'm just in the process of starting to move stuff around. I've got stands in place where I'm going to be lining them up in the background, and so
Max,
wow.
That empty box right there, what was in it?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
That is that was a mishap from Ringside Collectibles that I haven't sent back yet. I had ordered some cheap AEW figs that I was going to make into customs, and they accidentally sent me 2 Eddie Guerreros and 1 Rikishi. I just got to send them back. I mean, they're nice figs, but I was like, eh.
He took that Rikishi action figure and backed that ass up.
Huh.
No, it didn't even back its ass out of the box.
Listen, before we continue with the other introductions,
I know.
Tonight we're going to skip those 2 for the moment, and we're going to do the one introduction that never gets done unless I do it. Ladies and gentlemen, my tag team partner, the man that puts the show together, the man who without we wouldn't be Ramblers. Ladies and gentlemen, Dizzy.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate you so much. That means a whole lot to me, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, Max.
Boo that man.
I appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you. That means a lot. And let's introduce the next guy. He's got his catchphrase is what?
Culver's.
Welcome to Delicious.
Yeah, we got your buzzkill moment later on. It's the Baron. Hi. Yeah.
Hey, thanks everybody. I truly appreciate that warm welcome back into what's been 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
It's been a bit, yeah.
This is the first time all 4 of us have been on in
it has
like a minute.
It's been a while.
I miss you, bro.
Yeah.
Glad somebody does. And speaking of the guy that's next to me, he's the producer. Thank you to Mrs. J Bone, because Mrs. J Bone is amazing. A big time golfers clap for her. She is amazing, and he's the producer. That's J Bone, and I'm a little sour, if you can't tell, sir. I'm just a scotch sour at you.
Little bitter.
A little bitter, yeah. A little
salty.
Yeah.
But little salty like those cheese curds.
Well, that's the show.
Show over. Canceled.
Jesus. All right, let's get into tonight's show, because we're not here to talk about our betrayal, Max and I's betrayal. We're here to talk about some fucking wrestling, so let's get into it. Starting it off with TNA Genesis results. Boy, what a pay-per-view. And Ashante Adonis made a surprise entrance from NXT, took on Jake something, to which Jake defeated Ashante. That was kind of cool to see.
Great to see.
Yeah, Frankie Kazarian defeated Leon Slater in the pre-show match, which was a good match. And then we get into the main card. The X Division champion, Moose, with the system, defeated Ace Austin to retain the brand new belt that was unveiled before that match. And boy, that's a pretty belt too, honestly.
It is, but I don't understand why Moose has the belt. I'm not like, when I think of X Division, I think of like somewhat like, I know it's not the right way, and TNA fans can slaughter me for it, but like X Division is like a light heavyweight championship, in a sense. I mean, that's where it started. That's how the X Division.
The thing is, it's no limits.
Yeah,
you know, that's why guys like Abyss. That's why guys like Samoa Joe had them. You know.
Yeah, I think it's just to build the championship, honestly. You know, but that was a really good match. And right after that match, we saw Steve Macklin and Eric Young defeat Eddie Edwards. EY, yeah, EY defeat Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. And then we had the Knockouts World Tag Champions, Spitfire. They surprisingly defeated Ash and Heather by elegance for the tag team championship.
By that.
I am too, honestly. I was pulling for Ash and Heather, honestly.
I honestly think that Ash has put the time and effort in to improve herself, and she's worked her butt off. I think that Elegance deserved the win, but I'm not the booker, so what do I know?
Yeah. Also, though, I think Ash is like, I think she would be one that's kind of maybe going to move into NXT. Maybe. You know, I see it because like you said, I think she's done a fantastic job since transitioning over from the W to TNA. I think she's built her character kind of like Tony Storm has in AEW.
Yeah. We'll just, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed in that too. Tessa Blanchard defeated Jordan Grace in a very, very wonderful final TNA match for Jordan Grace. Mike Santana was victorious over Josh Alexander in the I Quit match, to which not only did Josh lose the match, he also quit TNA that night. TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, Matt and Jeff, defeated the Rascals to retain the titles. They announced NXT's Fraxium and the Rascals will be in a match in the first ever live edition of TNA, and I would assume that's going to be on Access as well as TNA Plus.
This Thursday.
And that match came about because Fraxium got hit a couple times during the match, and security then escorted them out. But my favorite part was the first thing security did was they stopped, picked up the belts, and then handed them to Fraxium before escorting them out.
Yeah, and to which Fraxium did come out during the match or before the match and had chairs, and they were sitting ringside, which I thought was kind of, I was like, wow, that's cool. That's awesome. Masha Slamovich defeated Rosemary in a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match for the Knockouts World Championship.
Brutal match.
Oh, totally brutal match. And the main event and new TNA World Champion Joe Hendry defeated Nick Nemeth, taking home the title. And of course, it wasn't without some run-ins. Here's what happened. Nick's brother was banned from ringside before the match, to which he bought a ticket for the show. Of course, he tried to get involved in a surprise visit from JBL. And Ryan was met with a clothesline from hell on the side of the ring. And then Frankie Kazarian comes out with his Call Your Shot trophy, to which JBL clotheslined him as well. Fantastic match, man. Finally, thank you to TNA for giving Joe Hendry the belt. Congrats to Joe Hendry. He's going to carry that company on his back, just like Nick Nemeth did. And it was a good match. Very good match.
And I know that there are people that don't believe in Joe Hendry, and that's okay. I am personally just thankful that after all these years of following him, he has finally earned himself a top-tier title. And yes, J-Bone, I do consider TNA a top-tier company. Therefore, their title is a top-tier title. And this has nothing to do with the partnership. TNA has been trying to dig themselves out of the mess they got themselves into years ago, and I think they've done an admirable job. The WWE thing is only going to help them further that cause.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I got to say my personal favorite, my match of the night is actually Jordan Grace and Tessa. Those two, man, those two clobbered the hell out of each other.
Yeah, they did.
I did see some of the footage of backstage of them, giving some love to Jordan on her way out. It's going to be interesting to see what's next. A lot of people say Royal Rumble. We'll have to wait and see.
I think Saturday Night Main Event.
It could be. It could be. You never know exactly what timeline they're working on as far as doing what. Same for Josh. And he's not taking any interviews or anything right now. He's keeping quiet, which is good because I want to be surprised with whatever he does left, whether it's does next, excuse me, whether it's working with his old tag team partner Ethan, or whatever, NXT main roster. I don't care. He's going to kill it wherever he goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm a little disappointed in the fact that we forgot a very important thing that took place after Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun match.
Oh,
after the match was over, who should come walking out to that ring? Cora Jade of NXT.
Oh, yeah. How did I forget that, man? Jeez, that was monumental.
So that was interesting. Now, like Courtney said tonight, which I gotta scroll up here, so just give me a moment.
Yeah.
There was no big like crossover tonight. But they did during the first match on NXT tonight, they did mention the partnership. So that, they did acknowledge it at least. So it's not like there wasn't anything. It's just they had stuff in play for whatever's going on leading up to like next week's show. And then the next big show after that is Vengeance. So whatever we have taking place as far as TNA content on NXT, we may have to wait a week or two before stuff starts happening. They're putting stuff in place, and it's like, look, the partnership is official. I still don't want 20 things happening at once because then it's just going to be ridiculous. Like I'm good with couple people here, couple people there. Keep it minimal, keep it special. If you overdo it, then it's going to be just like, well, then, NXT might as well, Shawn Michaels might as well, buy TNA or something, Yeah. So
I'm kind of surprised that last night on Raw, the closest they came to really talking about Genesis was when they looked at JBL and were like, I bet you still have some clotheslines from hell in you. Obviously, he just laid out two people the night before at Genesis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I felt like there should have been more.
I don't think the main roster is ever going to acknowledge TNA in the sense that they're in a partnership. I wouldn't think it doesn't benefit them in any way, shape, or form.
Well, no.
It's specifically NXT, but you never know what they could have planned.
I want to know like the fine details of partnership. What does that mean? I mean, there has to have been some money trading involved in this whole situation. Did they buy a portion of TNA?
I would assume. Well, I don't think so. I think the wrestlers that show up, and this is totally speculation, but I think the wrestlers maybe get a cut of whatever the ticket sales are at the store, merchandise or stuff like that. So I think that's what it is. Just another way for them to make extra cash to show up on a TNA show. But it's also to, put over TNA, give them a little bit of exposure and say, oh my God, somebody from NXT is on TNA, which is good. It's really good. So Genesis was an absolutely fantastic PLE. Really excited about TNA, really excited about this partnership with NXT and TNA, and really looking forward to it. So let's move on to some WWE news. And
one quick thing. I did want to just briefly say the attendance was over 4K, which was great. He was considered sold out for the portion of the arena that they used. So great to
Good
see.
for them. Yeah, it's good to see TNA. Like, I have followed TNA since the beginning, obviously, and like it was here, and then it dipped down when we all know who came and kind of tried to take over.
Yeah.
And it's progressively getting better from everything I've watched, and I enjoy that. That's great for wrestling. Like I've said on this show before, TNA is what AEW was supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bell's boy.
Hey, Bells. How you doing? Oh, no hello for me. I get it. I see how it is, Bells. Okay.
Hey, Bell's boy, you've been absent for a little bit, just so you know. Dizzy is my tag team partner, and those two are traitors.
Put some respect on that name.
Oh, we would fucking demolish you two boys.
So,
and I just want to say I haven't actually watched a TNA pay-per-view or live event in quite a while. I get my results through J-Bone or on this show, and I can see little clips here and there, especially if it's Joe Hendry. But I got to say, Genesis really impressed me, and I'm so glad we sat down to watch it the other night here at the house.
It was really good.
I know we're trying to get off of that, but like, where does Nick go from here, Nemeth? Like,
the Royal Rumble?
That's what I think too. But like,
I don't know.
I feel like that's too soon. Like, he hasn't been gone that long from WWE.
I think we could see Nick Nemeth in the Royal Rumble. Honestly. Oh, by the way, Baron, Courtney's mad at you.
No, Courtney, of all people, please. No, I don't care about these two jokers over here. Don't be mad at me.
Last week she was mad at me, so I don't know what she's mad at.
Courtney, don't be mad at me. I'm back, better than ever. Not to steal leading lines from Eric Bischoff, but
TNA Genesis was a fantastic show. Yeah, Courtney. Hello. Let's move on to one more.
Okay, so I didn't know when we wanted to get to this story, but it is kind of, it is TNA related. Mayor put PCO of the year.
We have, later on we're gonna dive into some of the things going on with PCO.
So I did want to announce, for those of you who don't know, PCO is gone from the TNA roster page.
Yeah, and we're gonna dive into that coming up with TNA news. Let's focus on WWE right now. Corey Graves returned to NXT tonight. He's had a roller coaster of a week in WWE, and it might be stabilizing for him some. There was some speculation about his status with WWE, with some cryptic social media posts and his absence on TV. Of course, he was moved from SmackDown back to NXT when the shift happened due to Raw on Netflix. Graves released a pretty scathing tweet against the WWE, which you can go back and listen to the last week's show. We dived into that and what he said. But it kind of put a question mark on his career. It caused him, the tweet caused him to be removed from last week's broadcast on NXT. And as far as we know from sources, there have been no indications that this situation is a work or a shoot. Whether Graves remains a fixture on NXT or eventually returns to Raw or SmackDown is still kind of up in the air, but his expected appearance tonight, is possibly the first step in putting the entire situation behind him. Now, I know we went to Max Magus on this last week, but I'm curious with you two, J-Bone and the Baron, what you have to say about this, and we'll start with the Baron. What did you hear what Corey Graves said on the tweet?
No, I guess I'm out of the loop on Corey Graves. What's going on, the entire story. I heard last week at some point he was going to show up on NXT, didn't, or whatever the case may be. But no, I don't. So you should definitely tell me exactly what's happening because I don't know.
Yeah,
let's go to his page and see if it's still there. I don't even know if
it's not. It's been deleted.
Yeah, he took it down.
So,
did he get?
I've got it right here.
Yeah, go ahead, Max, please.
I sent it to us in Messenger so I'd have it.
Okay.
Imagine chasing your dream. then being told, not deciding, that you are no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something dream adjacent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then, when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told that you're not famous enough for your own job. Just in case you're wondering where I've been.
Yeah, so with that is just Corey airing his frustrations out because he was moved from SmackDown back to NXT, which I think he thinks that it was a kind of a demotion.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. Like, clearly you want to be on the main show. I get it. Totally understandable. You're a commentator.
And he's so
like,
good at his job.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
But, like, NXT is up and coming. Like, obviously we've said this for a long time, but, like, that promotion is nothing to, like, put down, in my personal opinion. Like, I feel like it's a great promotion.
Right.
Corey Graves did great when he was on there in the past. Created a lot of stars. But I do, I guess, as an individual, understand why he would be upset about the whole moving to that roster. But in my mind, I feel like, I think it would be great for him to be on that show. Helps elevate them. Yeah,
I think that's what the point of it was, honestly. And I know the shift with Raw on Netflix, they wanted Michael Cole, obviously, and then they moved Joe Testatori to SmackDown, which caused a major shuffle. But I think that J-Bone, I think that the WWE realizes the talent that Corey Graves has on the mic as a heel commentator. And they needed to put him on NXT because I really think they're just trying to build that brand up.
Yeah, and I think it's good for him. I think it's beneficial for the show.
Yeah.
I'm not against him being on that show at all.
No, look, and all in all, look, and everyone has goals. Whoever's in the company, you got goals. Whether you want to be a champion, whether you want to be better on the mic, or whatever your position is, being a wrestler or a commentator backstage, or working with Michael Cole, or whatever it may be. Look, a job is a job is a job. And if you're working for one of the top entertainment companies in the world today, honestly, I wouldn't be that upset. Look, there's new contracts all over the place. There's new, new destinations for these shows. SmackDown's back on USA. NXT is on CW. Raw's on Netflix. So look, I don't know if there were like bonuses that came along with the Netflix stuff if you were chosen to be on Netflix on Raw or whatever. It seems like there might be something, because that's kind of like what CM Punk's like, I'm going to be making some good, good Netflix money or whatever he said recently. Well, okay, maybe there is. I don't know. I really don't care. But if you're Corey Graves, I look at it like, I can get some frustration, but it seemed like, he was probably told immediately, like, hey, just take that shit down and let's talk, because you've got a damn good job. Here's what the plan is. It's NXT's on the CW. We're trying to ramp that up as much as possible. And as good as you are, we feel like, you going back to NXT would be beneficial. It's like, I can imagine some kind of, conversation like that happening. And it's like, look, let's just,
And he did kick off the show tonight. Thank you, Max, for sending this picture over. He said, I am right where I want to be, where passion is everything, and only the hungry survive, and pro wrestling never stop being cool. And
it sounds like Triple H fed those lines to him, or Shawn Michaels.
Maybe so. I would maybe so.
That sounds like some fed up lines there.
Which would explain the other picture that I sent over.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
The Triple H thing. We get it. Yeah. But it's cool to see. It's cool to see Corey Graves back, and I'm glad that he's back where he needs to be, where he belongs, and everything is cool. Mac.
I've said this before. I can understand why he might be frustrated. I mean, you have busted your ass, and even though they say NXT is equal to Raw and SmackDown, we all know that WWE actually still just treats it like developmental. Televised developmental, yes, but still developmental. So you busted your ass to get to what WWE treats as their top level of their company, to suddenly get busted back down to developmental. I can see why it would look that way, but hey, here's the thing. Unless you were actually hoping this would turn into a work with McAfee or someone else, which this is still not the right way to do it. This is not the right way to go about airing your frustration. Don't be that guy from TNA that we're going to talk about in a little bit and just attack before you sit down and talk to your boss and work things out. Yeah. Maybe if you had gone to them, this may have actually become a work against McAfee or whoever you wanted it to be against.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. We're going to talk about that other company coming up here in just a few. Some other topics that have been going on, and Bell's Boy, where our thoughts are with you with the devastation of LA and California with the wildfires. Speaking of that situation, Melina has been talked about, and she's been staying pretty active by appearing at indie shows and conventions for the past few years, and some fans were worried about her safety during the LA wildfires after a wrestling promotion revealed that she was unresponsive. However, she is now confirmed that she's safe and will be attending an event in Orlando. So Melina took to Twitter, now known as X. She shared an update letting fans know she's safe and she's heading to Orlando for the Decade Days convention. The event was going to take place on the 24th through the 25th of this month at Orlando on International Drive at Desertland Park, I believe. She assured everyone that she's fine and promised to share more details in a future post or at the convention for those attending. Earlier this month, A Matter of Pride Wrestling raised some concerns about Melina's safety during the devastating California wildfires. The promotion posted an urgent message on Twitter stating that the WWE legend had been unresponsive. The wildfires has just burned and damaged over 20,000 acres and forced thousands of people to evacuate, making the situation even more worrying. They asked anyone with information about her whereabouts to confirm that she was safe, later confirming that she was. And the wildfires in LA have been absolutely devastating. We're happy to hear that Melina is okay and she's well. So
that's good.
Very, very good news. John Cena, he's in the news. Retirement tour. His retirement tour officially kicked off on during WWE's Raw debut on Netflix on January 6th. And 2025 marks the final year that John Cena will be active as an in-ring competitor before hanging up his boots for good. So Cena is guaranteed to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame someday. And now the leading candidate to induct him has been revealed. Ooh. While speaking on the Insight podcast, Chris Van Vliet told Kurt Angle that, according to betting websites like MyBookie, he is the favorite to induct John Cena into the WWE Hall of Fame, saying, quote, "If you look at the betting websites, if you look at MyBookie, you are the favorite to induct John Cena at the Hall of Fame," end quote. Now, Angle admitted he was surprised and acknowledged that many others also deserve the honor. He mentioned Randy Orton as Cena's biggest rival and Stephanie McMahon for discovering his rapping ability and supporting him early in his career. However, Angle added that he would be honored to induct Cena into the Hall of Fame. So this is gonna be a roundtable for just a few moments. I'm gonna go and ask you guys who you think should induct John Cena. We'll start with my best friend Max down there.
This fucking guy, get the fuck out of here.
There's a couple of big names that have worked very closely with Cena at times. I mean, you could throw The Rock out there because they had a big feud. The Miz and Cena had their big feud. I honestly, though, I think one of the best people that they could have induct him, I'm going to have to go with the Final Boss because they had a great feud, him and The Rock. And if you notice, a couple years ago, The Rock was up there and he was on the stage at the Hall of Fame. And I think he roasted Jericho harder, but the video said that he destroyed Cena. And he talked about how Jericho had a haircut of a 12-year-old. And then he talked about how there was a big controversy with the WWE that Iraqi insurgents were being captured, tied up, and forced to watch the Marine, which he then turned around and followed up by saying, hey, just keep in mind, I was in Doom, okay?
I remember that.
So Max says The Rock. Baron, who do you think, man?
I mean, like if you think about it, like there's only one person that should truly induct John Cena, and that would be like a Vince McMahon, but that's not ever going to happen. But I mean, if we're talking like across the board, who's he had the best feud with is by far CM Punk. The John Cena and CM Punk storyline, it's not even remotely close. Who he's had better, chemistry with, maybe Edge, but also I don't think John Cena really needs anybody to. I mean, it's John Cena, and first off, let's be honest here. Everybody says they're going to retire from WWE. They always come back, no matter what. There's not a retirement. I mean, good God, Ric Flair had 15 more matches after his big retirement. So anybody could. I don't see the Kurt Angle and John Cena thing. I don't know, but it could be. I would think it would have to be someone like higher up that would introduce them.
Randy Orton's a good one too because they had the title unification match.
Yeah, and Mir brought up the fact that John Cena inducted Kurt Angle in 2017. So J-Bone, who do you think, man?
Man, that's a tough one. I mean, obviously you want someone that's not gonna bore the audience. You want someone that's going to be, at least, pretty popular. So yeah, you want someone like a Randy Orton, a Kurt Angle, a CM Punk. They've all had significant ties to John Cena's past, his road along the way. I don't know, maybe another someone who's iconic like Roman Reigns is a pretty good talker when it comes to real life talking on the mic. Yeet, and Yeet, and wait, that's Jay. Never mind. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I'd say there's a good handful of options out there that you could certainly pick from. Or maybe they would even bring in someone like phenomenal, like The Undertaker. Because those two shook each other's hands on Cena's first appearance on the show too. In that meeting in the hallway, the infamous meeting where it's like, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm John Cena," and whatever.
Cena has had so many great matches and great feuds in his career. Honestly, I would have to pick The Rock too, because out of anybody that would be at the caliber of John Cena, it would definitely be The Rock. I think it would be him. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to see. Yeah. Max, I agree with you. I agree with
Bell's Boy.
Oh, and Bell's Boy says Max should enter the Royal Rumble. Wow.
Royal Fumble, not the Rumble.
Fumble.
Royal Fumble. There's a reason why I spelled that.
So is Max run out and he'll fall? Like, I don't know what the fumble is. I don't know. We'll have to see.
So while you guys were talking and giving your picks, I actually Googled John Cena's greatest feuds, and I just sent over a screenshot of what Give Me Sport considers his 8 best rivalries.
Yeah.
I mean, the CM Punk has to be number 1, right?
Number 4.
Let's show it.
I don't agree upon that. Randy Orton, I mean, yeah, it was great, and Edge was great, but the CM Punk thing led to, so much shit for wrestling. Like I don't think people quite understand the depth that went into.
Let's rule a couple people out here. It will not be Edge, and it definitely will not be Bray Wyatt.
What?
We have
How dare you?
We have Randy Orton, The Rock, CM Punk, AJ Styles, which honestly I thought J-Bone was going to go with that when he said the word phenomenal.
I threw you guys off there.
Yeah, Triple H and Kurt Angle. So out of all of this, honestly, I mean, I see The Rock. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, that is if he gets put into the Hall of Fame this year. We don't know that. I mean, like, in actuality, when it comes down to it, the most that makes sense would be the guy that put him over more than anybody when the fans fucking hate him. Because as wrestling fans, anybody that has watched in the last however many years should realize that nobody fucking liked John Cena. They booed that man out of the fucking stadiums every single week for years.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden everybody wants to praise John Cena because he's been gone. He's been the GOAT for day one for me. Like, he's fantastic. He always has been. Vince McMahon would be the ideal person to put him in. If it was
he will never go back to the.
Oh no, I know, 100% will not happen. But when it comes to like standards of people putting someone in, Vince McMahon like put that guy over.
But
here's the thing.
Yeah,
John Cena has become an icon that transcends the business. Honestly, while CM Punk is a great idea, Orton, Kurt Angle, I think top two names to be considered, because you're never going to consider Vinnie Mac. I'm sorry.
No.
That dude screwed his own life up. Let him just stay over there.
I don't know.
The
actually,
two top names are also two names that have transcended this industry, that are two of the biggest icons in wrestling history. They are on that list of greatest feuds, and that's Rock and Triple H.
Yeah.
You either get the creative guy for the company or the member of the board of directors for someone at John Cena's level.
I agree. I totally agree with Max. The Rock or Triple H would just make sense in that. So let us know in the comments who you think should induct John Cena.
Barry says Dom.
Yeah, Barry says Dominic Mysterio. I'm sure
nobody would hear the speech.
No, but if Dom brought out Liv, at least Baron would be happy.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, let's just have her induct every single member in the Hall of Fame this year.
There you go.
She could just do a bunch of hair flips and
there you go. Yeah, whoever it is, it doesn't matter whoever inducts anybody to the Hall of Fame. It's just good that they get in there. John Cena's clearly deserves to be in there, so they should not be in any type of argument.
Hey, I just want to do a what was that we used to call that back in the day, a sidebar? I want to do a sidebar just for a moment. My wife has the news on in the background, and I'm noticing that besides the tragic and horrific fires on the West Coast, on down south around Texas, all the way over to Florida, and in between, we got a blizzard happening with really, really horrible snowstorms and horrible temperatures. So I just want to say, hey, everyone stay safe down there. Do what you got to do to, if you got to travel, get out of there, to stay safe. Do what you got to do. But hey, us up here in the frozen tundra of Wisconsin, we call that Tuesday.
That's great. That's good. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers to all the folks that haven't really ever experienced snow, and a snow in this magnitude. Welcome to our nightmare here in the Midwest, man.
Listen, to all you people in the South who know me, that knew me outside of this show, it's about time you joined us at winter.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, this is some pretty big news, guys. During the first hour of Raw this week, Sami Zayn took some time to address his status for the 2025 Royal Rumble match. The underdog from the underground made it clear that he is in the match this year. Sami Zayn spoke about how Seth Rollins opened his eyes last week on Raw, and he's going to do things for himself now. At this point in his career, Zayn will get involved in things with his own benefit in mind. He wants to break into the top tier of WWE. Zayn stated that he believes he is the top 5 guys in the company right now, and they're in the Royal Rumble, so he's joining them. He said the only thing that separates him from them is that they have a world championship to their name, but he doesn't. So Kevin Owens made this interesting. He came out to interrupt Sami at the ring, and after Owens said that he believed that Sami Zayn can win the Royal Rumble, he said that he will make another memory at WrestleMania. Owens said that he will leave Royal Rumble as the undisputed champion, and he strongly hinted that Sami Zayn will be there for him if he needs it. That was quite interesting interaction between KO and Sami Zayn. Owens will be on Saturday night's main event this Saturday. He'll sign a contract for that match at the Royal Rumble with Shawn Michaels on hand to officiate things. So, J-Bone, I know you wanted to touch on that, man. That's kind of cool news for Sami Zayn, honestly.
It is. You know, one of the greatest rivalries over the last, I'll just say decade plus, because I know it goes well beyond WWE, NXT, down to the Indies / Ring of Honor days where those two, had their rivalry start way back then. So yeah, definitely 10 plus years ago. And it's been on and off for a while now. So the fact that there's, Kevin Owens has had this problem with the OTC and those who have recently helped the OTC, as in Roman Reigns and his crew, like Cody and such. It was very interesting to have Kevin come out and all of a sudden show a different side. Like, hey man, you're still my best friend. Kind of, pulling that curtain back a little bit. Yeah, I love that t-shirt. Canadian Dream, son of a security systems technician. It's like oh man, but yeah, that conversation that he had with Sami Zayn was, I'll call it iconic. I'd say it was, besides match wise, it was the highlight of Raw because it really put into place. I mean, yeah, there's going to be different people saying, "Oh, I'm going to be in the Rumble." "No, I'm going to be in the Rumble." "Oh yeah, well, I'm going to be in the Rumble too." "Okay, yeah, okay, whatever." This actually throws a storyline behind it with a big dose of history between these two guys and Kevin Owens saying, hey, now you've got someone that's going to be in your corner come Royal Rumble time. And he's like, and then you can, and you can help me be in my corner when I face Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble. So it's kind of like, hey, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, just like old times. Man, what do you guys think, man? I think this is a great story. I mean, this could be definitely one of the main stories leading into the Royal Rumble, leading to WrestleMania.
I definitely think it's going to be big. I think that, honestly, I mean, Sami needs this push. He needs to be pushed because I just don't feel like he's been utilized enough. And I think that it's time that he gets the push that he deserves. So maybe this is Sami's time to shine, honestly, because I haven't been over Sami in a long time. But maybe this is what he needs to get over.
So I was, before Bell's Boy typed that, I was just sitting here thinking, Sami doesn't end up helping KO. So KO causes Sammy to be eliminated, leading to them facing off against each other at WrestleMania. That's my thought.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. This is about an every 4-year thing. KO, Sammy have a feud, and it leads into a WrestleMania match because nobody knows what else to do with either one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is exactly what's going to happen.
It's not a bad thing, though.
No, it's not. It's great. But the problem is it slows down both of them when they have so much steam going in, and it actually, in the long run, hurts both of them. They're going to have a phenomenal match regardless. We know that. We get that. We've seen it for 20 years now. But, like, I think character-wise, it hurts him because he has to go back to, like, square root one after this match is over because there's nothing else that comes from it. I mean, it happens every 4 or 5 years, I feel like. And I think this is just the start of it. I think this Royal Rumble is absolutely way too stacked. There's way too many big names in this. And it's clear as day who's going to win that, in my mind, too.
Right, Joe Hendry.
No. There's a reason why they gave him the TNA title.
That's also a good point, Bell's boy. Because I was just going to say, you know what? You want to shake things up a little bit? I got an idea. Chad Gable is looking to take on the best of the best in the luchador world. Let's bring in El Generico and let Chad Gable break his teeth on that.
Oh, God.
He died, though. No. He died.
Oh, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. Let's move on to some
El Generico is still in Mexico helping the children. You guys don't remember this?
He died.
Let's move on to some AEW news, and let's focus on Britt Baker. She hasn't been seen on AEW TV since November, and rumors about her future have been running kind of wild. Some reports claim she's wildly unpopular in the women's locker room and that Tony Khan is over it when it comes to booking her. Now, a new update has been shed with a little more light on the situation. While things might not be great for Baker, they also may not be as dramatic as some headlines made them seem. Wade Keller of PW Torch recently reported that Baker may be done with AEW, explaining that people within the company believe she is in the same boat as others who aren't being used. Keller also mentioned that Baker is frustrated that Khan isn't making any effort to put her back on TV. He says, quote, the belief is that AEW CEO Tony Khan is fed up enough that he's not using her, and that should change. She will get the call, Keller reported, end quote. Sources are saying, though, that Britt is not very popular in the women's locker room. She, of course, ended her relationship with Adam Cole. Tony Khan's not happy with her, and so on. So if all of this is true, Max, where do you see Britt going?
I know where I hope she ends up, but I'm not sure if they'll give her the schedule flexibility that AEW worked out with her. Yeah. Because for those of you that don't know, she really is a dentist in real life.
Right.
And AEW gave her a flexible schedule so she could do her dentist practice and still do wrestling shows. But here's the problem. I do hope she shows up in WWE, but when Tony gets upset at somebody, they disappear from TV. Britt Baker is the most recent one we've talked about, but Ricky Starks is on that list. How many names have we watched go to AEW, have a big hot run for 6 months, a year, whatever, and then suddenly we don't see them on TV, but they're still under contract?
Yep.
Tony Khan's tired of playing with this toy, so he puts it up on J-Bone's shelf. That's what's happening here, and I'm a little over it. This is why your roster is so saturated. This is why your wrestlers are getting frustrated with you, Tony.
Yep.
If you're not going to play with them, let them go so they can go find someplace else to work. And Barry, you're right. TNA is a good one for the flexibility because the way their roster is set up, she can really work her own schedule with them. But honestly, as much as I'd be okay with that, I'd love to see her on Raw because I have Netflix in my bedroom. I don't have cable in my bedroom.
So that was weird.
I don't want to know what else you got in your bedroom.
Listen, I can move on.
J-Bone, where do you see Britt Baker winding up, man? If she's not in AEW anymore, where could she go?
Well, She's not going to be invited to any Thunder Rosa parties. That's for damn sure.
No.
No, look, I don't know, what to believe as far as all that goes. I heard there was a falling out in the relationship world between her and Adam. I also heard a lot of stories throughout the years before Adam even got to AEW, what she was doing behind his back. And if you haven't heard those stories, I'll tell you them off the air because they're.
This show is rated PG-13. These stories are not.
Let's just say she was visiting the jungle here and there. Anyways,
yeah.
Yeah. Jiminy Christmas. I don't know. Talent wise, Britt Baker is great. On the mic, she is great. She has worked her ass off. And I talked a lot about this on my old channel too, giving her props, saying, hey, she is one that when she had an injury, she showed up every single week to work and got some kind of segment in with her. Who is that she used to be aligned with? It was someone that used to be in TNA. She was doing makeup for AEW, but she was also aligned with.
I'm not sure.
So someone's gonna put it in.
Help us out in the chat, but go on with your story.
But yeah, just all the way back then, she's one of the hardest working people on AEW. Rebel, thank you, Barry.
Rebel,
appreciate it. Yeah, Rebel. Dating all the way back to those storylines. It's like she didn't have to be on TV. She could have stayed at home injured with whatever leg injury it was at the time, knee, hip, whatever, I forget. But she was out there and just constantly working on, storylines, promos, and whatever. And she became one of my favorites for a while. So I don't know. Thank you, Critical Sting. You're about 5 minutes late, but we still love you. Thank you, Terrence. Same. You're like 8 minutes late. Thank you. No, I love you guys. I'm just teasing. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, Baron, I mean, Britt Baker has been polarizing in AEW as far as her mic work and the way that she's over. Where do you think she could land, man?
Back in the dentist's office. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we get so many fucking different stories from these people and what's going on in the backstage. I don't know what's real and what's not real. I'm sure it's not all golden, but I mean, this is what happens when you have 75 to 100 people on your roster. You're leaving important people out of the mix. So hopefully she goes somewhere that is able to help her career. I think NXT obviously is a great choice. I don't, do something over there.
Yeah. I totally agree with Max. I think TNA would be the best option for her since WWE has a bit of a weird schedule and not as flexible as AEW or maybe TNA could be. I think that TNA would be a good spot for her. Let's move on. And, it was time for Baron's buzzkill moment, but let's move on to, of course, he has to dip out to go pee, but let's move on. Tony Khan plans to hold an event in the same area as WrestleMania 41. It's a bit of a bold move. Seems a little too ambitious, but TK was reportedly planning to hold Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor in the same city as WWE's WrestleMania 41, right in the heart of Las Vegas. So according to Russell Zone, sources in Las Vegas claim AEW was working with a venue near Fremont Street to host the ROH Supercard of Honor over WrestleMania weekend. While ROH has traditionally held the event during WWE's biggest weekend of the year, this would have been the first time it landed so close to the WWE flagship event. And However, those plans now have been scrapped and the show is officially off the WrestleMania weekend calendar. It's unclear why AEW decided to pull the plug, but trying to run a competing event in the same area as WrestleMania 41, a 2-night extravaganza set to take over Allegiant Stadium, might have been a stretch even for Tony Khan. And we all know why TK pulled the plug on this Ring of Honor event in Vegas. We're not stupid. He'd have been absolutely cream. Tony and Ring of Honor, both. And nobody would have attended the show because they're all busy with TNA. Absolutely. That's 100% the reason why.
With WWE.
Yeah. The WWE, they would have creamed them.
No, you said that they would have all been busy with TNA.
Oh.
Everyone's going to be busy with WWE.
WWE, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But
apologies.
Here's the thing. WrestleMania weekend has always been a big deal for other companies. What they do is they come to whatever town WWE is working. They put on their own stuff. They network. They make friends. They get fans to come see their setup and stuff. And it's not a bad thing to be in the same town as WWE on WrestleMania weekend. However, if you are trying to put a show on and your name is Tony Khan, you want to be as far away from WWE WrestleMania weekend as you can, because everyone's going to go, oh, Tony Khan's putting that on. We'll be over here. We don't need to see that. Back before AEW absorbed Ring of Honor did well WrestleMania weekend in the same towns as WWE. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen for them anymore. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree exactly what Max is saying. It's not too far-fetched. I mean, like, all these promotions, all kinds of events happen during WrestleMania weekend. I mean, like, just how they are. So it's not really a competing matter because they're going to have people there regardless, I would think. It's just how it is every WrestleMania season. All promotions are kind of in the vicinity. So.
I mean, J-Bone, I think it was a good call.
Yeah, it goes back to what they agreed to do or / not to do, back when the company started, and like, look, everyone's allowed to change their minds by all means, but that was one thing that Cody said. And yes, I'm not an idiot. I realize that Cody is back in the WWE now for years, but that was one thing that Cody announced out there, is that AEW would never compete with the WWE, especially during WrestleMania weekend. So whatever, they're going to try to pick something. I don't know what's close to them out in the desert that way. Cause I thought, Vegas was just kind of in its own little world out there, but if
TNA really, really wants to compete, what they need to do is honestly focus on either TNA or they need to focus on competing with GCW. Because those two promotions are not at the same caliber. TNA is getting much, much, much bigger, but I would think that GCW and TNA or AEW would be the ideal opponents to go after one another.
Or don't compete. Be a wrestling promotion and don't compete. There's nobody on this planet since the Attitude Era, I mean, like, that's going to compete with WWE. It's not even going to be close.
But in Tony Khan's world, you have to compete.
There's competition, and then there's competition.
Yeah.
Okay. The way Tony Khan wants it to go, that's the thing in the past. That's what we should be moving away from. That's what Baron is saying we shouldn't be doing anymore, and I agree 100%. Now, just because there's a partnership in place doesn't mean you can't have a competition between WWE and TNA once we get TNA elevated to the right level for it to actually be an equal footing kind of thing. And that's a good competition because that brings your ratings up and everybody wins when everybody's ratings go up. But you have to make it compelling and you have to do it the right way. Tony Khan wouldn't know the right way if it was a rattlesnake and bit him on the ass. And that's part of the problem with AEW.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, it was a good call that Tony Khan canceled this Ring of Honor event. So close, right in the backyard of where WrestleMania is going to be held. Good call, honestly. Baron, I'm glad you're back, man, because it's time for your buzzkill moment.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And former WWE superstar Baron Corbin drew a lot of attention to himself after he called out AEW talent wanting to get their releases early in the light of Rey Fenix's current situation in AEW, as Tony Khan added injury time to his contract and refuses to use him on TV. Interestingly enough, though, RVD has now seemingly backed Tony Khan's decision to tack on injury time to Phoenix's contract. While speaking on the One of a Kind podcast, RVD was asked about contract situations and how they work when a wrestler is injured, whether promotions typically extend contracts to make up for lost time. In response to Tony Khan adding injury time to Rey Fenix's contract, RVD confirmed that this is the case. He even shared his own experience from 2005 when he underwent knee surgery, which was the only surgery of his career. His ACL and medical meniscus were repaired, and he took the full 12 months off for recovery. RVD talked about an injury back in 2005. He said he got paid to sit at home and recover, smoke weed, watch TV for the whole year, and do therapy. WWE tried to bring him back after 6 months. He said he wasn't ready, but doctors wanted him to go back because they didn't want him to, quote, milk his injury time, end quote. Phoenix is kind of in a similar situation now, Baron. So for Tony Khan to add injury time to Phoenix's contract, it was reportedly to prevent other talent from taking advantage of him. Whatever that means, regardless, all Phoenix can do now is wait until his AEW contract expires, and that will be several months from now, as fans simply feel bad for him at this point in time. So, Baron, is RVD right on this?
RVD had me at stay at home, get paid, and smoke weed and watch TV. So, yeah, I'm going to have to agree with RVD on this one. Who wouldn't want to do that?
It's not a bad thing. I mean,
obviously, if you're actually injured, though, you don't want to rush into something that you're not ready for. So maybe it is a good thing he's holding on to that. And maybe take what RVD said and do the same thing. Stay at home, watch TV, smoke weed, and get paid. Because that sounds like 2025 goals to me.
Absolutely. I mean, I kind of agree with RVD too, honestly. Why would and Barry hit it on the point. What's the point of getting injured if you can't milk it? It's one of the perks, I mean, get paid, sit at home, recover, take time off, and just enjoy it for a while that you're not on the road. I mean, I know that you want to. He's probably chomping at the bit to get back on the road and get back in the ring to train, but it's just one of those things, man, that you got to. And honestly, if his contract expires with AEW and he's not ready to go, or he's healed or whatever the case may be, and his AEW contract expires, he could be talking to WWE. You never know. So,
and I imagine this is the bigger reason why they're holding on to his contract. They probably don't give a shit that he's injured or any way, shape, or form. It's just not to lose another talent over to WWE, because we've seen what Penta did. And his debut, the crowd was, so I imagine that plays a part. But yes, buzzkill moment. I agree, RVD with RVD. So milk it, man. Get the money, get healthy. That's priority number one.
Yeah, it's a buzzkill for the fans. It's like the business aspect of it. I totally get it. Baron Corbin is looking at it from a fan's point of view. The fans want to see Phoenix join his brother, Penta, on Netflix, on Raw, and ultimately I think it's going to happen. I'm guessing SummerSlam at the latest, but we'll see what Tony does. I don't think any of us know how long, whatever kind of time he tacked on to Phoenix.
Yeah.
So yeah, from a business point of view, I get it. stay at home, keep rehabbing, stay in shape, be ready. Don't overdo it, but stay in shape, be ready for when the time comes. And
I totally
do what you got to do. But from a fan's standpoint, we just, because for those of you that know, because Phoenix is one of the best luchadors out there, along with his brother, and seeing them, whether it's against each other or versus the world, it's some of the best lucha wrestling you've ever seen in your entire life. And if you haven't seen it, just watch any of the seasons of Lucha Underground or any of the matches that they were in. Shit, it's some of the best stuff out there, man. It's the best stuff that came out of the last decade. I still say it to this day, period.
Yeah. And Max, you should know over anyone here about injury time and how long it takes to recover. Have you ever had to deal with that in the promotion that you were in?
And no, I mean, on the indie level, you don't typically have contracts with the company. I mean, some do, don't get me wrong, but so there's not really an injury time for most of these indie companies. The problem is that usually it's a day for a day. So if I'm injured for 2 months, I owe the company 2 months. But usually that time is spent in the ring. So once I'm healed up, I know I need to give you 2 months back that I was just down. So now I spend the next 2 months in the ring, making up for the time that we lost. The problem is, and this is where I don't agree with this whole situation, if you're not going to let him out of his contract, then put him back on TV. Make use of him. Do what you contracted with him to do in the first place. Because all you're doing now is and this is, I'm talking from a booker's perspective, because I agree with Baron and RVD, don't get me wrong. From a booker's perspective, the guy that's paying the money out, all you're doing is paying this guy to sit at home. Why? Why would you put out all that money for him to just sit his ass at home?
Because you
put it back on TV.
Because he can.
Because it's not your money.
Well, my point is that as a booker, I've got to look at things like that and understand that I'm just throwing money away. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm throwing money away. I may as well get my money's worth.
You're pissing into the wind.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Let's move on to some TNA news, and everybody's talking about TNA, and especially Jordynne Grace. Man, she had such a great match against Tessa Blanchard at Genesis, where she ended up putting over Blanchard. Since then, fans have been wondering if Grace will join WWE. Interestingly enough, her name has been removed from TNA's roster page, making it more likely that she will be heading to WWE soon. If you visit the TNA website now and you go look at the roster section, you'll see that Jordynne Grace's name is missing from the J category, making it pretty evident that she's truly done with TNA. It's to be noted that Grace is no longer under contract with TNA, and there have been reports that WWE expects Jordynne Grace to be backstage at Royal Rumble on February 1st, where she will be likely be given a ton of attention and maybe show off her in-ring skills. So we totally wish Jordynne the best, and we look forward to her WWE transition. I'm looking forward to seeing her on the main roster. This is exciting and an exciting time for Jordynne Grace. Let's go to the desk of Max Mages, because something else big happened when Genesis was on the air. Another promotion, GCW, People versus GCW pay-per-view was also on, and PCO just made his departure, Max, from TNA, and it won't be forgotten anytime soon. The former TNA digital media champion caused a bit of a stir at the People versus GCW pay-per-view when he pulled out the championship and smashed it with a sledgehammer, except it really didn't actually break. Sources within GCW via Fightful Select said that PCO went into business for himself, taking the mic and cutting a promo before ring announcer Emily J stepped in and the show abruptly cut to a video. GCW officials reportedly had no idea that PCO was planning to do this and said he made it seem like his actions were part of an ongoing TNA storyline. However, they quickly realized it wasn't the case. Over at TNA, though, Yeah, the reaction was a lot stronger. Those within the company were reportedly shocked by PCO's actions, as he was scheduled to finish up at that week's TNA's taping in San Antonio. His contract had already expired at the end of 24, but he was still set to drop the title before leaving. It also needs to be mentioned, Max, that the belt PCO smashed was a replica, but it still sent a very strong message. There's some beliefs that PCO is pretty upset that his contract didn't get renewed, which played into this whole role with the GCW event. Honestly, Max, it's not a good look for PCO to smash a title. But what kind of repercussions could come from this? From your standpoint, you've been in the world of professional wrestling. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, that depends on if there was still a contract in place and how much time was left on it. But even without that, there are options TNA could choose to follow. If they still had a contract in place, they could sue him for breach of contract for violating certain terms, like slandering the company at another company's show. This is not the first time we have seen a wrestler take a company's title and then go trash it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Monday Night Wars. Medusa showed up on Nitro and dropped the women's title in the trash can. Rhino was on TNA when he took the ECW title that WWE had requested back. Now, it was in a bag. We don't know if it was real. He dropped it in a big can, lit it on fire. It's not the first time. However, the thing that was different was Medusa and Rhino handled it just a little bit better. You don't know what was in the bag that Rhino dropped into the can. Maybe it was the ECW title that WWE was requesting back. Maybe it wasn't. In fact, I think it came out later that he said he actually did send the belt back as requested, but it was a symbolic thing that he did in the can.
Yeah.
And they didn't go on long rants about it either. When PCO was in that ring, he ran his mouth about TNA this, TNA that, to the point that even a company like GCW was like, no, this is unprofessional. Cut the feed. Go to something else. You've got to pick and choose your battle. You have to remember that this business is about professionalism, and how you do things matters, and it's going to reflect on you later. Corey Graves got his ass chewed for the way he decided to handle things, and he told the company line tonight. PCO, on the other hand, I don't think anyone's going to want to work with this guy going forward in the future. Okay, TNA is probably going to file a lawsuit, as I stated before, and other companies are going to be like, dude, the way you handled, I get it. You don't like them, but you kind of went about it the wrong way. We don't want to work with a guy that's going to do that, because you never know when you're going to turn on us instead. So I think this guy just blackballed himself from the world of pro wrestling.
Well, I think it just shows that PCO is a bit of a loose cannon. I've never been over on PCO. I don't like him. I think he's just way too gimmicky. But it's not even about that. It's about what Max said. It's about the professionalism, J-Bone, and you just don't go to another company like that. If you're still considered to have some sort of contract possible, and especially since you're the current champion, no matter what kind of champion you are, you just don't go to another rival company and do that.
Yeah, and granted, yeah, he did a lot of PR when they had, big shows in Canada over the course of the last couple of years. That's called being a company man, and if there was stuff that was promised to him by Scott at a certain time on a certain date, saying, hey, if you do this, I'll give you this. Well, guess what? As nice and as wonderful as that is, Scott was gone after a certain date, and the powers that be, putting plans into place,
yep,
obviously would still want to use PCO as a PR tool to put butts in seats. Makes sense. Any company is going to do that. Be like, oh, look, Bailey's from the West Coast. Put her on the West Coast shows. Duh. It's a gimme. Have Undertaker stop by a Texas show or HBK. Duh, it's a gimme. Put butts in seats, sell those tickets. But it's called, that's your job.
Yeah, but and exactly what Bell's boy just said, whatever promises that Scott D'Amore made before he was removed, they were null and void after he was gone. Because Anthem probably took over and said, you know what, all these promises that Scott made you, we can't follow through with them because we have different aspirations for where we want to send the company.
Probably handshake shit. Unfortunately,
probably so.
PCO probably should have been like, okay, that's nice, Scott. That's great. I appreciate it.
But I want it in writing.
Put it in writing.
Absolutely.
Because then if he does put it in writing and it's on company, what do you call that? Paper, whatever.
Company header.
Yeah, company header, and it's official from the president at that time, then okay, then there's some weight behind it. But if it's done on a handshake, then it's like, what are you going to do?
Baron, people come and people go, right? New owners happen and new owners come in and they change the landscape of where they see the company going versus the past or the previous ownership. And sometimes it does mean that employees are let go or they're demoted, or maybe the promises, the handshake promises that were made to this employer or this employee are gone because there's nobody there to back it up. The old people aren't there to back it up. So in a professional setting, because yes, wrestling is a business and we have to be professional, what would be the best line that PCO could go as far as, showing that he's upset in a professional
I fucking the professional world, who cares? You know what? I think he did the perfect thing, man. Like, what? I'm sure. Who cares? I mean, like, how many people in wrestling have went into business of their own? This happens. This is wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I'm just taking the other side of this just because everybody else is in agreement. So,
but
bear with me while I build my case. God damn it! But like, I mean, this guy has been wrestling since the early 90s. I mean, do we all remember him as the tag team with the Quebecs or whatever the hell it was in the early 90s? Like, he's been around for ages. So, I mean, like, obviously he should know better. But it's also not, like, too far-fetched. I mean, like, you got to make your name for yourself somehow. Clearly it wasn't going to happen in TNA. We're talking about him. So, maybe it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, I just wish PCO would have gone in another direction instead of what he did on the GCW pay-per-view.
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally understandable when it comes to like business wise, but also this is a cutthroat industry. Wrestling is, we all know it is. You have to make a name for yourself. He's 60 years old at this point, I would imagine. So there's not much left in that run.
Yeah.
And Barry, you're right. Josh is still under contract, according to our research. He's contracted until mid-February to still be with TNA. So I'm not surprised that they are playing that into a storyline. How, I quit. No, you can't do that. You still got time on your contract, so you better show up. As far as PCO is concerned, this is a good thing, in my opinion. And let me tell you why I think this is a good thing. Because it gives us a story to talk about on our show, to give our opinions on what he did wrong. We understand the frustration, but this gives us a news story. So thank you, PCO. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's move on to the last story that we've got for you today. And by the way, we're going to keep an eye on that PCO situation. Let's talk about Tessa Blanchard, man. Her return to TNA has stirred up plenty of conversation. But now the former world champion is breaking her silence on the controversy in her own bold way. I love this. Taking to Instagram, Blanchard posted a fiery message addressing the backlash she faced since her comeback. She says, quote, "Mad now? Just wait. This is only the beginning. Hashtag diamonds are forever. Hashtag undeniable. End quote. She made it clear that she's not backing down from critics or her past. The statement comes as discussions continue about her reputation following allegations of racist behavior and bullying from 2020. Now, while Blanchard denied many of the claims at the time, her lack of public effort to mend relationships with those she reportedly wronged has been a sticking point for a lot of fans and industry insiders alike. On the latest Fightful Select Backstage Report podcast with Sean Ross Sapp, he addressed whether Blanchard has taken steps to make amends. He said, quote, I hope that she goes and makes amends with the people who were affected by the things that she said and did, because I know some of those people and those efforts have not been made, end quote. Sapp stated. She, also, despite the ongoing controversy, Blanchard's in-ring return to TNA Genesis against Jordynne Grace drew a lot of attention. However, the spotlight isn't just on her wrestling. It's also on whether she'll address the allegations that followed her out of TNA years ago. Now, J-Bone, I was watching, we talked about this on the show when Tessa Blanchard made her return to TNA. A lot of people were talking about it, including Conan and Disco Inferno. And Conan said that during her time with Tessa in Mexico, she was hard to work with because Mexico is a whole different beast when it comes to the States. But Tessa seemed, according to Conan, Tessa seemed to be a bit of she acted like a big shot when she really wasn't. So,
okay.
Where do you think Tessa needs to at least talk about what happened in 2020? Do you think maybe she's grown from it just a little bit? I know she's a heel. I know she's doing heel things. But do you think that maybe she's grown from this?
Well, I feel like she's had to have grown from it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let her back. If they had conversation, they would have had to like go into some pretty detailed conversation, be like, hey, we're contemplating doing this. We want to know where you are. What's your headspace behind the scenes in the wrestling industry? Obviously, she's matured to some level. They would not. Number one, they wouldn't put her on TV. Number two, they wouldn't put her under contract.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's going to be haters out there, and that's fine. That's some people are just damn good heels, and sometimes you do stuff in the timeline of your career that's going to piss people off, and you can't come back from that. There's so many people, like MJF, Hogan, the timeline, the list goes on and on. So yeah, I'm a supporter of Tessa. I think she's a tremendous worker, and I've been looking forward to the day when she could come back to. We'll just say television in the States, because she's been in Mexico for a while. Just kind of. I'll just say like rehabbing her brain. Just finding out who she is, because obviously she has to have known she made mistakes. Otherwise, she wouldn't be where she is now.
Well,
so
Baron, I would say that this is kind of like a CM Punk type of thing, because I don't know how legitimate CM Punk is with him being on TV and saying, I made a lot of mistakes, blah, blah, blah. But it's similar to that. So do you think that Tessa could take the same route that CM Punk took when he came back to WWE and maybe save a little bit of face?
CM Punk didn't make racist remarks. So, like, here's my thing, and I'll just leave it at that, because, like, yes, people evolve, people grow as adults, and that's the beauty of life. But once you hit the age of over like 15 or 16, and you bully people, and you make racist remarks, I don't have respect for you, and I never will. I don't care if you have grown as a human being. That's beautiful. But there's always that deep there's always that deep hatred in your heart, regardless if you show it on TV or not. So, to compare him to CM Punk, absolutely not. We can't. CM Punk was a bully probably backstage, so I agree with that. But you're not going to build my respect back in any way, shape, or form, and I'm glad the crowd did chant what they did. So, yeah, I mean, that's just my perspective. And yes, everybody evolves, and that is the beauty of life. But there's a couple things you just don't do in life, and that's be racist. It's one of top of my priorities, and that's just that.
Max, you seem to agree with that.
I mean, to an extent, yes, I do. He's right. She made racist comments. If it was up to me, and I said before that I didn't want to get involved in the taking sides in this whole thing, but I'm just going to give my opinion real quick. If she made racist comments and I was the promoter, I probably wouldn't have worked things out with her and brought her back. That's just how I am. But as far as the privately talking to the roster, yeah, she may have done that, but some members of the roster still took to social media, expressed their disappointment that she was back. And she acted pretty unprofessionally, not just the racist comments, but she broke communication off with TNA when they were asking her, hey, when will you be coming back? Will you bring the title or send the title? Whatever you choose, they were trying to reach out and she was refusing. If TNA thinks that she has atoned for her sins, fine. I'm going to let TNA have that. They're the ones that signed the contract. They're the ones that pay her a check. Fine, that's their choice. But for me, I expected better out of a Blanchard. I truly did. And it's going to be tough for her to earn my respect again. TNA has my respect because they put a lot of thought into their decisions, but Tessa is going to have to re-earn it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that can go with this. It's just, do we base this off of personal feelings or wrestling feelings? Everybody's got their opinion. But,
I mean,
you're not going to get that back from the Baron. I'm sorry. You just
everybody's going to have, everybody's got their opinion. Everybody has their feelings on this situation. And we just need to keep looking forward, I think, as far as this whole Tessa Blanchard situation is concerned. We need to keep looking forward. I think TNA is kind of looking forward to it, looking forward to the future of where the company is going to go, and whether they needed Tessa Blanchard or not as a star power, that's yet to be seen. I don't know. I think they have plenty of star power as far as that goes. But Tessa Blanchard, I can say that she's a pretty strong heel. She's a pretty strong figure in TNA or anywhere that she goes. And despite her mistakes, let's look at her career and how she is in the ring. This match with her and Jordan Grace was absolutely phenomenal at Genesis.
That finisher was devastating.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I forgot that was her finisher. Let me just say that when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, talk about putting a nail in the coffin in the TNA career of Jordan Grace. That was the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the most loving way,
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what had to happen, because if Jordan's going to WWE, she's going to make that transition. She had to put her over, or she had to job out, you know? So and
let's be honest, she is better than She Who Shall Not Be Named. And She Who Shall Not Be Named apparently has 3 belts right now. Who the fuck booked that?
Yeah. Tony Khan.
Bastard.
That's who booked that. Yeah, no shit. Well, that is all I have for us tonight for the show, man. That was a fantastic show. Fantastic show. Thank you to everyone, all the comments, all of the love, all the likes. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight on a terrific Tuesday. We certainly do appreciate you. And even though we've got the 2 traders over here.
Hey now.
It's nice to have all 4 of us back on a Tuesday night. It really is. So props to everybody showing up tonight. And hopefully we can do it again next week. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Maybe.
hopefully.
Maybe. But in that case, that's the show. So go ahead and give our socials. We'll start with Max.
First off, I would like to thank all you viewers, because without you,
yes,
we'd just be sitting here talking to ourselves, and we do that in Messenger all week anyway. So thank you for being here. We appreciate that. You can find the wrestling account at Max Magus. You can find the Nerd Podcast at Our Shots Podcast. We are available on pretty much any podcast streaming service. And if you want, you can go to random-shots.net. And here's a little sneak peek. Thursday night, we are recording the first part of the 2025 Nerd Madness Battle of the Network Sitcoms.
Woo! Who's in the bracket? Who's in your bracket? Just a couple of
I want to be a part of that. How do I get on that? Seinfeld.
I'm not going to announce what anybody else's picks are, because we do those as a top shelf thing when we do the intro.
But
we've got
bracket?
On the original 16 that we put in, and then we each picked the rest ourselves. I've got Friends, I Love Lucy, Seinfeld, Cheers, The Dick Van Dyke Show, MASH, Golden Girls. I mean, we've got some quality sitcoms on this list.
Classics in there.
Are the Simpsons on there?
Okay. We had a couple of rules going into this. It had to be a live action sitcom. It had to be on one of the main networks, so ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. I was willing to possibly consider CW if they had a good argument for it. It had to have more than one season, which means you couldn't just, and it had to be US. It couldn't be like some shows from the UK are aired on US television. It had to be a US show. Sergeant Bilko would have been a great one too, but you got to understand that list was extensive. That's why I narrowed it down with the rules that I did, because we were already had a lot of shows to pick from.
Okay, is Full House in there?
It might be.
Okay, yeah. As long as Full House is in there, I'm cool. I love Full House. Love that show. That's going to be an interesting show. Check it out. What's the website one more time?
Random-shots.net.
There you go. And make sure you follow at Our Shots Podcast on X, man. That's going to be a good show. You'll find all the links there on his social media page. J-Bone, how can they follow you, sir?
You can follow me over on that little Twitter box at JBone5150, or the X, as some like to call it. And you can also find me on Thursday nights once again, because we got that schedule fixed.
Yeah. You're off Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's fucking awesome.
Yes. You, yeah. I'm very happy. I got it back. You know, we had to get through the holidays, and I get it. But
are we gonna plan on doing the park on Tuesday evening?
I'll message you privately about that one.
Okay,
anyways, you can also find me on Total Nonstop Impact Thursday nights.
Yeah, watch your ass, Baron.
Easy, Max. Easy, Max.
Watch your ass,
now, Max.
Don't throw out a finger or nothing.
Baron, how can they follow you?
Find me on the Twitter at Scumbag Jordan with 3 of them, 3 N's.
3 N's. You can find
9s.
Yes. You can find the show on Facebook, facebook.com/Ramblers Unleashed. Please go give us a like there. You can find us on Twitter at The Ramblers Pod, or X, or whatever you want to call it. And and make sure that you here on YouTube give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow. That tells YouTube you like what we're doing, and that sends our video off to others, letting them know that, hey, there's a wrestling podcast here that talks wrestling news, and we like to get interactive with it. And we're ready to talk, man. So next week, we're going to have a ton of stuff to talk about when it comes to WWE, when it comes to AEW, when it comes to TNA. We are going to dive into all of it for you next week, next Tuesday night at around 9 o'clock right after NXT goes off the air on CW. And again, we thank you so much for all the subscribes, all the likes, all the video likes. We're starting to put up shorts on our YouTube channel. So please make sure that you're following and you give it a like, give it a shot. And if you're new here, we certainly do appreciate you taking the time out to subscribe to our channel. It really does mean a lot to us. We put a lot of heart and soul into the show, and we really do it for you. So thank you.
Just so we're clear, that's 8 o'clock in the only time zone that matters. Mine. And listen, don't like the show if you don't like us. We're not going to be upset if you don't like it. But let me ask you this: if you don't like our show, why are you listening to us?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we love the listens, but we don't. We want you to like us. We want you to listen. If you like us, don't just sit through this for morbid curiosity. Come on.
Or sit through it for morbid curiosity, please.
Okay, do that too.
I invite you to do that.
Because you know what, guys? Some people just love to hate.
They do love to hate. Yeah.
Listen, my point is, we don't want to tell you to do anything you don't want to do. If you like us, give us a like. Let us know that you like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, thanks for liking the channel, and please subscribe to the channel. And next week at around 9 o'clock our time on a Tuesday, we will do it. Okay, fine. We'll go with 8 o'clock your time too, if you're in the mountains. We will do it again on Tuesday. Please enjoy wrestling. Please enjoy for what it is. Go watch Independence. Go watch Pro. Watch the WWE. If you're into AEW, watch it. Just watch it. Love it. And next Tuesday, we'll talk to you. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming episodes.